Well, hello there.
Hey!
Should old acquaintance be forgot? Friends, lovers, thank you for joining us. This is 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir. And sorry, we're running a couple minutes late here because one of us was getting especially cute. Take a look and see if you can guess which one of us that was. Folks, good to see you. Good to see you in the chat joining us for this, the last day. Whoa, that was not the reaction I was going for.
The last day.
The last day of the year. Today is Sunday, December 31st, 2023. Day 365 of this, your best year yet. After today, there are 0 days remaining in this year. I hope you have made the best of them, but also I hope you are already looking forward. Christmas is just in 360 days. New Year's Day is in just 1 day. There, holiday right around the corner.
All right.
If you're not already partying tonight.
How about Halloween?
Halloween is in 305 days.
Excellent.
Always have that ready because you never know. She's going to ask. Well, you're not dressed for Halloween. You are dressed for a night out. It's not all showing on the camera.
Yeah,
but
no, it's not. And I'm not entirely done with this look.
Yeah, well, we'll get photographs.
We're going to like an 80s band versus a 90s band kind of thing. Like competition sort of thing, and it's fun. It's at a place called the Magic Bag. We've never been to one of these before, but
we've been to the Magic Bag many times, but we've never been to one of their 80s 90s mega parties.
Yeah,
which is what they're doing for the New Year's Eve celebration. It's going to be the 80s versus the 90s.
Yes.
And we are all about that. That's going to be fun.
I didn't have time to do this, but I'm going to have a big bow in my hair. I'll get pictures and I'll post it on the 5 Minutes Facebook.
Yeah, you don't really have the Cyndi Lauper Madonna look going that you had a half an hour ago. You've got to see these pictures when they come out. If you're not already friends with us on Facebook.
I will say Cyndi Lauper, not Madonna.
No, you're not Madonna at all, but that look you were going for.
I do have this strange blush going on. I never wear blush. I've never worn blush, but it's the 80s, so you have to,
A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do.
As an 80s woman of elegance,
yes,
one must wear blush.
Oh, I just got to refresh my chat here real quick because the chat's looking good. Happy New Year, Jim Ashley. Happy New Year to Equal to Reality. Robin is in the chat. Robin saved the day. I scheduled this. You don't know about this, or maybe you do. I scheduled the show, and while waiting for 6 p.m. Eastern Time, waiting patiently as one does, I'm listening to the Aaron Brooks show, and I get a message from Robin who says, "Did you know your show has started?" And I can kind of hear Yaron Brook in the background. And, it's an empty couch. Apparently, as I was setting things up, I hit the button that makes all the magic happen prematurely.
Bink.
A little, premature action there. So thank you for that, Robin, and Happy New Year to you as well. Unsigned 32-bit individualist is in the chat. A Happy New Year to you. We've already celebrated the holidays, but there's more to come. There's more to come. Happy birthday to Matthew Humphreys. Thank you, Matthew, for everything, for being part of Christmas for us. Jennifer Lionberger, of course, I know you're in a good mood because Yaron did a great show today and beat it almost seemed like he wasn't going to possibly beat his challenges today, and he did in spades. Akira Felix, thank you for joining us. Akira says, I have to leave early, so just checking in. Thank you for that. I want to get a huge Happy New Year out to you. Have I missed anybody? Stephen Katz is in the chat and says both great decades for music. We've had this argument before. It's funny, though, if you're not a big 90s person, or if you're not a big 80s person, look at the music from that decade. There was amazing music in the 90s, and obviously amazing music in the 80s. It's just we kind of remember the lemons. We think 90s, we think your only alternatives were either grunge or Spice Girls. It turns out a lot more was going on than that.
Yeah, well, the people who grew up in the 90s, though, and that was their formidable teenage years, they only remember the lemons of the 80s, or maybe not. Maybe not. But,
man, we had some lemons in the 80s, but I only remember the good stuff. So yes. Jason Adams with Objectivists Matters is in the chat. Very cool, and is wishing us a happy. He says, I'm building my smoker bar. Smoker bar Bisuso. Is that a typo or a language? I don't know. Either way, build it up. Make it happen. That is super cool. So, yes, as I say, December 31st, it's New Year's Eve. We are going to go out and party. Some of you already have. I have communicated with some of you. For example, Robin, if you're in Europe, you folks in Europe, you're celebrating New Year's right now. You've been spending 9 minutes already giving kisses to everybody else in the room, or at least making a nice toast to yourself. If you're, man, I know people who are like my age or a little older. Turns out everybody's a little older. I thought Yaron was my age, but no, he's older than I am. Anyway, older people sometimes, New Year's, don't make it to midnight or decide to stay home and watch the ball drop if they can stay awake that long. Drink a toast to yourself. Make this a special day, even if you're not going to go out and party like some of us are. But if you are partying, I hope you are partying hard. I hope you are partying like it is to remember. A great way to cap off the year, doing it safely enough that you will live through the experience. But damn, have a good time. Yes. So what we're going to try to do here, we're going to do this show, then we're going to go out and party. This show will be better than the party unless the Magic Bag really has good bands. Apparently that's their, excuse me, their shtick. I got to fix my hair here. I don't usually worry much about my hair, but you know, it's New Year's Eve. On this date, am I going to do an on this date? I'm going to do a real quick on this date. December 31st, the last day of the year, 1879, Thomas Edison demonstrates the incandescent light. His particular incandescent light for the first time. The first public demonstration of the incandescent light bulb, Edison lights up a street in Menlo Park, New Jersey. You can't do that anymore because Menlo Park is in Dearborn, Michigan. We stole it. Well, his buddy Henry Ford picked up Menlo Park, brought it to Greenfield Village, and now you get to watch the recreation of that special event. It was on this date, December 31st. Thomas Edison chose New Year's Eve to demonstrate his electric. You know, he didn't invent the incandescent light bulb. He just made it work. The idea was already out there. The problem is the filaments would burn out, or they couldn't handle the stress of the energy going through the system.
Right.
They'd burn out. Nobody did it before Edison made one that would really work. Too cool. Also, real quick, 1999, this is the date the Panama Canal was turned over to Panama. Some of you youngsters might not know this, but there was a time in the history of the world when if you wanted to ship something from the east to the west, from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, well, if you were going to do it by ship, you had to go around South America, which is kind of a long trip.
Yes.
And somebody got the idea in 1880. Well, there's this really skinny part of Central America, country of Panama. It's such a narrow strip that we could dig a canal big enough and deep enough for decent-sized ships to get through. And that's exactly what they did. Well, started in 1880. The company that originally, the French company, that started digging the canal, more than 22,000, consider that number, more than 22,000 workers died, not through accidents, mostly from tropical diseases like yellow fever.
Oh, gosh.
During the early phase of the construction, and the company eventually went bankrupt, selling its rights to the United States in 1902, so this is 22 years after the project was initially started, for $40 million. President Theodore Roosevelt championed the canal, viewing it as an important addition to America's economic and military interests. In 1903, Panama declared its independence from Colombia in a United States-backed revolution, and the U.S. and Panama signed the Hay-Bunai-Varilla Treaty, in which the U.S. agreed to pay, and here we go, pay Panama $10 million for a perpetual lease on the land for the canal. We would always have a lease on the land around the canal that we built, plus $250,000, $250,000, which was no small amount of money back then, in rent. 56,000 people worked on the canal between 1904 and 1913, and over 5,600 lost their lives. When finished, the canal cost the U.S. $370 million to build, but was considered one of the great engineering marvels. You no longer got to take your boat around Brazil and Argentina and Chile and the whole of South America to get it from one side to the other.
Hooray!
But time goes on and people say, is it really right that the United States owns or leases that canal land, that they control the canal? Sure, they built it, but that was a long time ago. That's so lame. I hate that kind of reasoning. But in 1999, this day, December 31st, we gave the Panama Canal back to Panama. I shouldn't say back to Panama. We gave it to Panama. And there it goes. Still one of the great marvels of the engineering world. One more. On this date, sad one, December 31st, is this right? 1999? I think I might have the wrong date for that. Can anybody please look up the date? I think it was 1984. The date of death of Ricky Nelson in a plane crash.
1985.
1985. I was 1 year off. I don't know why my notes say 99. If you saw that in the show notes, the description, I will fix that. But yeah, we lost Ricky Nelson at 45. Too young. I just mentioned Ricky Nelson because he was so cool. He had all the cool, all the panache, all the style, but he also kind of had the nice guy thing going. You know, he was one of the sons in The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, which was a show. It wasn't literally about the Nelson family, but it was because it starred the Nelson family.
I like him in Rio Bravo.
But Rio Bravo was the best.
Yes.
So on this date, good day to watch Rio Bravo if you're spending New Year's Eve home watching movies, television, good stuff. Recommended. Couple birthdays out there. It's Anthony Hopkins' birthday. Still with us, 86 years old. Nice. So happy birthday. For Anthony Hopkins, see, I'm not a Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter kind of guy. No, I say watch The Mask of Zorro.
Oh, right.
A contemporary Zorro movie. Anthony Hopkins is great in that. It's great fun. You've got Antonio Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
It's great fun, but it's more than fun. It's well done. So happy birthday, Anthony Hopkins. Watch that film. It's also the birth date. We lost her a few years back, but the birth date of Donna Summer. Share with us in the chat. Do you have a favorite Donna Summer song? Because
all of them.
I'll tell you what. When I was young,
good.
She did a lot of the kind of sexy Giorgio Moroder disco kind of music, which of course had an effect on me as a young boy. But the one that really hit hard around the time that I was just coming into my own as a teenager was the MacArthur Park Suite.
Yes. Somebody left the cake out in the rain.
It was so good. That was another Giorgio Moroder production. And the suite, the long version, the extended version is the one you want to listen to. It's the one I've posted in the show description because it starts with MacArthur Park. This incredibly overdramatic and almost jaw-droppingly impossible to believe love song. If you know MacArthur Park, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's time for you to discover it. But then it leads into her disco tunes, One of a Kind and Heaven Knows, and then finds its way back into MacArthur Park. Great stuff. It's the birth date of Donna Summer. Yeah, we lost her in 2012, age 63, but such good work, good music.
Yes.
If you don't already know her, find her, discover her, and listen to her early stuff, before the Bad Girls Beep Beep kind of stuff, which was cool. It was great pop music, but her early stuff, so good. One more.
She also did, she did the one that Vangelis and John Anderson wrote.
She did a version of State of Independence, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she remade State of Independence, a John Anderson and Vangelis song.
Yes, very good. Very good.
Yes, very, very good. Sorry, just double checking the chat to make sure I haven't missed saying Happy New Year to anybody. They're talking about Anthony Hopkins in The Edge. Yes, great movie. And it's that great style. Reminds me a little bit of Edward Woodward. Not just British and slightly gray-haired and dignified, but a real cool underneath the dignity is just badass. Incredible British badass. Underneath the style and class and diction and too cool.
Right.
Last holiday for the day. It's a National Champagne Day. Gee, I wonder why that would be. And the only news I have on champagne is that they have been trying since the 2010s to expand the Champagne region in France. Champagne, France is a region where the grapes for champagne are grown.
Yes.
And did you know, some of you know this, if it ain't grown there, it ain't champagne.
It's called sparkling wine.
Right. It's why we call it sparkling wine if it was, produced out of California or really anywhere else but Champagne, France. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the powers that be are trying to expand it for market reasons. It's too much of a squeeze. Too many people want champagne, real champagne from Champagne.
So just call some new land champagne.
Right. Exactly. It's still in France, and it's, kind of the same land, right?
That's right.
Makes sense to. I'm all for it. I am all for it. I posted a news article about that. You can read more about it. It's all I'm going to say about it on this date, because there's some things I want to say about, well, it's New Year's. So the first thing I want to know, great stuff in the chat already about Anthony Hopkins and related issues, but it's New Year's Eve. What are you doing? And what are your resolutions? Because I hope you're having a good time. Whether you're out partying, hanging out with friends, hanging out in front of the television, watching your favorite shows or movies, or just having a quiet night to yourself and enjoying this fine, fine holiday evening on the, what is it, the 7th day of Christmas?
Yes.
On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 lords a leaping, maids a milk. What was the 7th?
7 lords a leaping, I think. No, wait a minute. Hold a second.
Oh, my God.
9 ladies.
See, after the
6.
first 6, it gets real hard.
5 golden rings, 6. No, wait. No,
Yeah, it's hard to do it backwards.
No.
Okay.
All right, I'm looking it up.
We'll see if the chat beats you to it here. But whatever you're doing on this fine 7th day of Christmas,
which is
in which my true love gave to me,
7 swans a swimming.
7 swans a swim. I
Yes.
guess if you have a large property with water, that would be a nice thing to receive.
I guess I'll put them in my bathtub.
Yeah, I was gonna. If you're landlocked like we are, what are you gonna do with 7 swans? Swimming. What are they swimming in? How are they even pulling that one off? But anyway, on this fine 7th day of Christmas, whatever it is you are doing, I want to know. I want to know in the chat. Stephen Katz is spending time with my favorite woman. That is exactly what we want to hear. Stephen, I know you've been enjoying some romance in your life lately. There was some controversy on that. Some people wanted to be judgy, like, is she follow your philosophy? That eventually will matter, but that is the wrong question to ask when somebody starts a new romance.
When will the indoctrination begin?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Just present objectivism as if it were a value, like any other value you have, but it's a very important one. But you don't have to worry so much about that. Just be natural.
Well, the neatest thing about philosophy is the best way to sell a philosophy is to live a philosophy and show that it works.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, Stephen says his New Year's resolution is to get better, as close to perfect at completing my daily checklist and get a raise. I love checklists. I'm a big advocate of writing everything down. I'll revisit that before we wrap up tonight. So good stuff. And Jennifer Lineberger says, I saw 2 swans swimming in Lake Erie yesterday. Well, if I lived on the river just north of Lake Erie, maybe I would see that too. But that is super sweet. I'm sure you see super sweet things every day. And I don't just mean Mina the Wonder Dog. Very, very nice. Awesome stuff. Real quick, under shameless self-promotion, what are we watching this week and what have we been doing this week? We watched Yaron Brooks' year-end show. It was cool. Spoiler alert. No, I'm not even going to tell you whether or not he reached his very ambitious financial goals for the show. He always does a big fundraiser every show, but he does an especially big one at the end of the year. And it was exciting to see whether or not he would make it. And we did contribute in our very small way, as we often do. Good stuff.
So Jim Ashley says, I wish they would show reruns of The Equalizer with Edward Woodward. Now that's it's on DVD. You can't stream it because they have issues with the licensing with the music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like Moonlighting had issues as well. So maybe they're working on resolving this. But if they resolve it and they put it on streaming, it's probably not going to have the original '80s beautiful.
Yeah, the soundtrack.
Totally tubular 80s music.
They might get away with the soundtrack parts of it, but when you hear pop songs that were current at the time, I think even on the DVDs, a lot of those have been removed because there's very little of them.
Yeah.
And reading people's comments, they're talking about how, where'd this song go? Where'd that song go? Well, they didn't have the rights to use that music except during the broadcast. I've just realized my chat on Facebook hadn't come up, so I've got to give a huge shout out to Maria.
Yes.
Who is wishing
Larry.
us a happy new year, and she's from Larry and Maria. Maria, please give a big, big, massive wet kiss to Larry for us, from us. Well, it doesn't have to be that wet if it's coming from me, but you know what I mean. You guys are the best. For folks who don't know, Maria and Larry are the latest love story. They were married this year, so...
And congratulations to them.
Talk about a big 2023 right there. We had the honor of being present at the time.
Yes.
And Daniel is in the chat as well. And I don't know if I've ever tried to pronounce Daniel's last name. Daniel Ananos. See, GN could be silent G or not. Anyway, Daniel, I don't know how to pronounce your name, although your profile picture is awfully cool. Happy New Year right back at you. All right, I think I got everybody now. Although, I'm watching for those newcomers coming along. Besides listening to Yara and Brooke, I participated in the Ayn Rand Center UK, as I usually do, on one of their reality shows. The reality show, it's a panel type show, so there's always 3 or 4 of us. Amy, you've been on some of those, not so much lately. And we did a follow-up episode. Those of you who heard this show last week heard about this. They're talking about the war. They're talking about the war in Gaza, the war in Israel. And they did an episode, let me see if I can find the note here. Yes, they did an episode, The Palestinian People Are the Enemy. And they did this episode right about the time when the channel started going viral. So they went from hundreds of views to tens of thousands of views just overnight. Just complete change, very quick. And that show in particular, got thousands of views. And I wasn't on that show, but I was in the chat. And they read my chat. And it ended up being a chat back and forth to the point where I might as well have been on the panel for all the commenting I did. It was such a interesting show that the man behind the scenes decided to redo the show a week later with me on it, and that's what they did. That show was given the provocative title, well, Are There Innocent Civilians in Gaza? That was streamed just a couple days ago. 24 hours later, it already had over 8,000 views. Last I checked this afternoon, it had 14,000 views.
Ooh.
A lot of positive comments in the YouTube.
Yeah.
A lot of negative ones, but you know how people feel about that these days. No surprise.
Well, I think that people really appreciate it. I think Robin here on YouTube is saying you made a great and very important point. No, I think a lot of people, there's certain there's a certain wonderfulness and objectivism in terms of being principled and understanding certainty, and really having an opinion for just about everything in the universe. It's great. It's wonderful. But there's also something to be said for actually parsing things out, having more of a nuanced view, and that's a great asset that you have, Robert. That's what you bring.
It was a tricky show because I'm on the side of all the people I was opposed to, but they were making a point that I thought was not correct, and yeah, good show, worth seeing. You should watch it, and the link is in the show notes. And it's been fun. It's been fun to see this go from the usual 100, maybe 1,000 views to many, many more than that. And a few of the last, the few of the most recent shows have been doing that. That's all I want to say about that, because really what I want to talk about is Happy New Year. It's
oh my gosh,
it's 2023 2023 is winding down when Dave Barry posts his year in review. For those of you who don't know, Dave Barry is a writer, a comedian writer, and every year in the Miami Herald he publishes his year in review, and it's always satirical, but what's great about his year in review, not only is it great comedy, but he goes through the whole year's big news stories month by month, in January this, in February that. He ties it all together with themes that seem to run through the year. And as I've said before, the interesting thing about going through old news, and by old I mean a month old, 2 months, 3 months earlier in the year kind of news, is how little of it matters. And some of the stories do matter. There are things we're dealing with right now, things we're fighting right now. Certainly I wouldn't say, the war in Israel, we made a big deal out of that and it wasn't that big a deal. No, that is a big deal. But so many stories that we thought at the time, oh my gosh, are now properly the subject of humor. So, link to Dave Barry's latest year in review is in the show notes as well. It's It's on the Miami Herald. They call for a subscription, but they usually will give you an option to have a free subscription for a couple days without providing any payment info. Take advantage of that. It's worth a read. It's worth your one look if you're not a subscriber at the Miami Herald.
Yeah, I'm seeing the whole thing at the Las Vegas Review-Journal, so you can look it up there.
The Las Vegas Review-Journal. I've seen them post it before. I don't know if they're doing it legally or not, but if it's there, I assume they must have the rights to it. It's very, very funny. Occasionally a little dark, and you're like, Robert doesn't like dark humor. No, he pays his dues. It's worth it, even for the dark bits. Just because it's that funny.
Can I say the last 2 lines?
That would be a bit of a spoiler.
No, it isn't. So to answer our own question, yes, the situation is hopeless, but Happy New Year anyway. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what he's referring to.
Yeah, well, he opens up, for example, talking about 2 trends that held throughout 2023. The 2 trends in 2023 that he starts with are AI, artificial intelligence, and pickleball, the game pickleball. And he says one of these is a new development that could possibly wipe us all out and spell the end of Western civilization. And the other one is a new series of computer programs. It's that kind of humor. So, definitely recommended.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Now, I did actually listen to the kind of year in review sort of thing that Yaron Brook did do today, earlier in his show.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. That was...
It was. He didn't do as much year in reviewing, I think, as he intended, but he had so many questions.
Right.
And the show ended up running so long.
4 hours or something.
That he wrapped up the content portion a little bit earlier than he might have. But he got plenty in there, and it was good. And I will be doing my own personal year in review, as I do every year, and posting that on the Book of Face. And so if you're not already a Facebook friend of mine, actually everything I do on Facebook is public, but easier way to follow it is to be my friend on Facebook. And I friend everybody I know, everybody whose name I'm familiar with. Otherwise, I'll investigate you. I'll send my investigators after you to find out if I should friend you. But then you get to read my annual year in review, which will probably include some pictures as well, maybe some that I didn't already publish. But that will be good. And I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about the year that has passed and thinking about the year to come. It's been a good year.
You know, it's been a non-pandemic year, where 2022 was kind of a
We're kind of still dealing with that.
Yeah, we were still dealing with COVID, and
this year
and
it's
then we
been
were
weird.
just very happy to have it go away. But yeah, those 2021, 22 were 3 years of yuckiness, and it was, but there was a lot that I know I did and I accomplished in those 3 years. But this past year has been a catch-up year, and it's a year that has been kind of filled with chaos, at least for me, because it's just catching up about those for what we should have done in the last 3 years that now we can do. And so it was. I hope that this coming year is going to be a little bit more relaxed, but also very purposeful and successful as well. So
this next year is going to be awesome. We had a great year in 2023, and the only regret that I have is that we didn't have a better overall plan. A lot of times I'll be able to look through the year, and just like I do on this show, I'll be able to tell you the themes that tied together everything we did. Whereas this year it was more events and less of a theme. It's hard to tie together getting your wisdom teeth pulled and going to Japan and attending the Ocon conference. And the kinds of things that we did were all different, scattered, not connected.
It was a very adventurous year. It really was adventurous.
And I like it when our years have a theme.
Right.
So that's one of the things I've got in mind for the coming year. By all means, again, feel free to share with me in the chat any highlights from your year, but especially things you've got in mind for 2024, because that's what I'm thinking about. Is I want to put a great year together. 2023 may have been my best year yet. That's certainly what my planner says on the front of it and what I was shooting for. But I want this year to be even more conscious, more intentional, more purposeful.
And that's why I bought myself a diary.
You have a new diary.
Yeah, it's a combination lock.
You got a lock on it, so nobody can find out what's on your mind without you knowing it.
I'm gonna put in some stickers, little heart stickers, and it'll be like a burn book. I'm kidding.
That's because you're an 80s girl. If you were a 90s girl, it would be a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper.
That's right.
That's right.
Oh, I opened it.
Now, if you want any tips for the year coming up, I want any tips for the year coming up. I want to party tonight. Now, don't think about this tonight. But I am putting together my grand scheme, my plan for 2024. And rest in peace, life on Earth.
Yes. Well, it's not entirely totally resting because it's still out there.
So I'm kind of sharing something early that hasn't been publicly announced yet, but you should be the first people to hear it.
Yes, we have an announcement.
And I'm not going to give any of the inside information, or I'm not going to make any of the announcements that haven't been made officially that don't have to do directly with me, but Life on Earth on the Ayn Rand Center UK channel will not be coming back.
Not on the ARC UK
Not
channel.
on the ARC UK channel.
Yeah.
It's very possible that Life on Earth with Robert and Amy Nasir will come back on this channel or somewhere else. I'm still putting that together, but I only just found out that the change that the channel has made to being war coverage all the time, every day, and no other shows, that's a permanent change. Or at least none of the old, I shouldn't say none of the old, my old show isn't coming back. Our old show isn't coming back. So
what are we saying RIP about again?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm just making a joke. What are we saying? What are we telling?
Oh, RIP.
Yes.
Yeah, rest in peace, life on Earth. Rest in peace, life.
Well.
Yeah. So, all right. Before we get bogged down too much on that, the point is, the reason I mentioned
yes,
is that, well, in memoriam, in requiem, I have been listening to some of the old shows, and sometimes I think I don't need to do it anymore because I think I've said everything anybody needs to say.
Now you need to write the book.
Now I just need to write the book. Now I just need to formalize it. Half of it's already been written. Of course, some of you know if you go to robertnasir.com/show notes, you can find the notes and in some cases even the scripts for whole episodes of that show. I did an episode when we hit 100 episodes called Lessons Learned, Rules for Life, and gave you my 12 rules for life. I'm not going to give you all 12 of those right now, but every single one of them would help you plan a better 2024, and that's how I'm going to use them. We did an earlier episode, Amy, you were on that one, called Recipes and Scripts. Recipes and Scripts for Success, and that's what I want to talk about tonight for just a moment.
Let's do it.
I said before, and you know it's true, you are the star of this show. In fact, it's one of my 12 rules for life is, yes, you are the center of the universe. Everything you choose, everything you give attention to, whatever you focus on, it gets elevated. You are the star of the show. You're also the director and the producer. And most importantly, you are the script writer. That's the thing about my show last year is I did too little scripting, a little too much flying by the seat of my pants. And this year I don't want that to be the case. So go back to that earlier episode, Recipes and Scripts for Success. And the reason why I point that out, the reason why that became an entire rule for life, in this case I phrased it as the formulas for success are all around us. Well, the answers, how to succeed, how to be happy, how to get what you want, how to make things happen. The answers are well known and widely available. It's already out there. You know, Nikos Sotirakopoulos just posted on X, formerly Twitter, a list of the books that he found most influential this year. He also added last year's list. And it includes books we've talked about before. Books like Adam Grant's book on habits and how we are creatures of habit, and here's how to make your habits work for you, and several other books. You should read that if you're looking for some good books to read from Nikos. But the formulas for success are all around us. None of this is a surprise. The answers are all well known. They're widely available. And the thing to do is to then use them to write your own script. Script your life. You can make that happen. I make the mistake being fairly smart, but maybe being fairly stupid. Either way, I make the mistake of carrying a lot of my plans around in my head. Because I'm smart enough that I can do that and often succeed. But I'm not succeeding. I could be doing so much better if I was writing more down. A plan for each day, a plan for each week, my short-term goals, my long-term goals, my ultimate values that those goals add up to. Some folks talk about that as the ground level, where you see what's right in front of you, and then the 10,000-foot level, where you can then see the actual way you're going to achieve your goals, and then the 20,000-foot level, in which you can see what it adds up to, all the way up to the 50,000-foot level, which is your values or purpose. I'm going to do that more. And I'm going to do that more by re-listening to those 2 episodes, which I did recently, and I need to listen to them again. I know that sounds silly. What do you mean you need to listen to them again? You wrote them, you said them, you don't know that stuff? Yeah, I hate to be cocky, but they were pretty damn good.
They are very good.
And so there are links to those in the description on YouTube, in the description on the Facebook event. If you're listening to this on the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, everywhere out there, you can find them also at robertnasir.com/show notes. And that is my plan. And what I want for you, all of you out there who are listening to us, who have joined us, who are joining this party on New Year's Eve, I want you to do that too. But also I want you to share it.
And look at this beautiful, beautiful keyboard tie. That too, but share it.
Share this. Share this show.
Yes.
Share this show. Like and share. You know.
Yep.
I had to figure out how to get this part to stop doing this. See, I haven't been going out and partying enough, so I got to get the hairspray thing down, or maybe a band or a barrette. No, men don't wear barrettes. Well, men don't wear eyeliner either.
Just don't do the man bun, okay?
Man bun. It might be the only thing I've never done is a man bun. I'm just not, I can't rock the man bun.
I don't know. Let us know what you think about man buns in the chat.
I mean, Alex Prisk can get away with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or maybe we're all just used to seeing it on him, and that's why he can get away with it. But I'm just not a man bun kind of guy. That just ain't me.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just reading this comment from Jim Ashley, and I'm not sure if I should read it out loud or not.
Right.
But it's on the Facebook side, so the folks on the YouTube side haven't read it. He says, anyone who's ever had to endure a colonoscopy, boy, that hits close to home. Some of you know for what I went through a couple weeks ago, should read Dave Barry's essay simply called Dave Barry's Colonoscopy. I read it on the internet just after having hernia surgery, which was a mistake because halfway through reading it, I was laughing so hard it hurt because I was in stitches.
Oh boy.
No pun intended.
Yes, you're in stitches. That's great.
As I say, Dave Barry, and Jim, you're right, is very, very funny. And yes, the year in review, like I say, it's not only funny, but to me, it gives me perspective. It lets me see right in front of me which stories this year were actually important and which ones were, to steal Shakespeare's phrase, not much ado about nothing.
Yes.
And that is worth knowing, because it's worth reminding yourself as you go along in life, this thing I'm upset about, is it really worth being upset about?
Is that the definition of well, some people use the phrase nothing burger.
A nothing burger, yes. That's a big nothing burger. It seemed like it was big and juicy and substantive, and it turned out to be a nothing burger. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and Froda, hey, yes, best to you for 2024 as well.
Happy New Year.
He says, man bun is okay if you are a samurai. If not, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not me. So, there you go.
Ancient Chinese wisdom.
Yes. Ancient Chinese secret.
Yes.
Can't even remember what the product they were advertising was for that. Something at the Chinese laundry.
I don't know. I'd have to look that
How
up.
do you get your shirt collars so white or something? And a guy running the Chinese laundry won't say. He's like, ancient Chinese secret. And then she like sees his bottle of all temperature or something.
No, well, it was the Calgon washing detergent.
Calgon
From
washing
1982.
detergent.
Yes.
Okay. I thought that was like a bath salts
It
or
is.
something.
It's both.
Calgon, take me away.
Yes, you can use detergent in clothes and in the bath on yourself.
All right, well, they need to keep that one secret then.
But then they changed it to, I don't know if you remember, Calgon, take me away. And then
Yes.
you fill your bathtub up with, and then you're taken away, I guess, by the
Yeah,
bath
I don't want to take a
fairies.
bath in detergent. Although, you had the soaking your hands in Palmolive.
Yes.
You know?
Beautiful hands.
Like at the beauty salon, you're getting your
like,
fingers
oh,
done, and then
so
the
youthful.
gal, I forget her name, says, she's talking about Palmolive, and it's really that gentle? She's, yeah, you're soaking in it. And she immediately pulls her hands away like, what the hell, I'm soaking my hands in dishwasher detergent?
No,
Man,
you're
I
supposed
miss
to look
those old
back and you're
commercials.
like, oh, my nails are perfect.
Yeah.
And my hands are perfect. It's perfectly moisturized. I have no wrinkles or anything.
Means it probably didn't wash your dishes very well. But
Right.
I love old commercials. We shared some old commercials last week, Christmas
Yes.
commercials. So these are a little more on the... Oh, Madge. It was Madge, right. Unsigned in the chat says, Calgon in the 80s. Remember that stuff from the 60s? It's Madge. I remember the name now. Yeah. Weird. Although, I don't know. I still think my favorite one is Crazy Lady Pantyhose,
Yes.
which was like a parody-style commercial for something else. But,
It was for a used car lot, I think.
was it?
I think.
Something like that. So, folks, Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us. And I do encourage you, no, not tonight. Tonight you should be partying like it's 1999 or the last day of 2023. But I do encourage you tomorrow. When you wake up, it's healthy. I love that song. I have confidence from the Sound of Music. But when you wake up tomorrow,
Yes.
do take a look at our show notes. Do take a look at those shows. Consider going to robertnasir.com/show notes and look at those 12 rules for life. You might find them amusing, but you may find them inspiring, and it may help you think, let me do that. Let me sit down and think, what do I want 2024 to look like? Because if you're going to join us on this journey, 2024 is going to be your best year yet.
And that's the truth.
I can say that in advance because I know the kind of people who watch and listen to these shows.
Mm-hmm.
I know the people who are as crazy as Amy and I are. I mean, as ambitious as Amy and I are. And I also know that it's now going to be yet one more year away from that freaking 2020, so it can only get better.
Yes.
To steal a line from Howard Jones, things can only get better, and they are. They are. We know the recipe. We know how to write the script. We know the rules for life that are required to have our best year yet. And dash it all, that's exactly what we're going to do. Have I missed anything in the chat before we wind down?
Golly, I mean, just, best wishes here for the 2020.
Yeah, good stuff in there.
Yes, just agreement from folks, which is great.
On this particular day, I don't mind that we don't have any disagreement. Did I say Happy New Year to Narendra? Narendra, Happy
Yes.
New Year. I know it's been for you, it's probably been the new year already for 6 or 7 hours, but Happy New Year. Yes, you're absolutely right. It will be our best year yet. It's going to be good. Folks, I am going to take my bride out for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, but before you do, I don't know, is there anything Amy wants to say? Oh,
Amy.
That's me.
I think I've been doing most of the speaking. What's on your mind?
Gosh, I don't know, actually. I just love that. So you can't see it from here, but, and we're going to work on this before we go out tonight, but Robert's actually wearing eyeliner, which I think all self-respecting, dignified men should be wearing is eyeliner, because I just love eyeliner on men. And
even young people who didn't live through the 80s?
Yeah, even young people.
Even young people,
well,
okay.
You'd probably find people who grew up in the 90s and they're like, well, I'm emo, I suppose, but no, not quite like that. I'm talking about, kind of like that Duran Duran sort of look of, men with makeup.
Oh, well, then I need the hairspray and some color.
That's right.
Which I can do too. You should have known me in the 80s, folks.
Oh, yeah, you should have known. So Robert had a band called Trevor, And you'll all have to figure out why it was called Trebor. Trebor. Okay, so yeah, and actually I think some of those recordings might be up on, I don't know if they're up on YouTube or not, but we do have some references online somewhere about it. Definitely on robertnasir.com.
I'm sorry, references to what?
Trebor, your old band.
Oh, okay. Yes, there are pictures of me in my old band, both on Facebook and at robertnasir.com/Trebor.
Yes.
That might not actually sound like a word. It's my name backwards.
Oh, you let the cat out of the bag.
I did, just because otherwise folks won't know how to spell it.
But I just spelled it.
and there is a whole, oh yeah, you did. There is a whole story there, why that happened.
Yes.
Why everybody in the band ended up being named Robert, even the people who weren't named Robert. And
but then I became part of the band later on, and my name was Robert. And yeah.
Yeah, kind of like the Ramones. None of them were really named Ramon either. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
And now you can identify.
Those were the days.
You can identify as anything that you want. So.
You can be whatever you want to be. All you need to do is script it. This is my post-it note for the week. So this will be the note that sits. I think this one will be on my mirror where I apply my eye makeup. And this is my reminder to myself that if you don't put it on paper, it doesn't count. I mean, it might happen. You might still stumble through. It might be okay. But this year, 2024, I've decided that ain't going to be good enough. I want it scripted. I want it on paper. I want it planned. You can do small things by the seat of your pants. If you want to do big things, you got to get out that pencil and paper. Well, pen and paper. Actually, I like the Pentel Energel X, if anybody's curious. My favorite ink pen. Although for Post-it notes, of course, there's nothing like a Sharpie. These are nice, too. They've got the Sharpie, the medium point and the fine point on them.
Yeah, I like ballpoint pens myself. Black, goth ballpoint pens.
Hardcore.
It's a brand called, I think it's like TUL, and I think it's called Tool, probably.
Yeah.
I think it might have an umlaut on it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, those are gel pens, but they're ballpoint.
No, they're ballpoint. I don't think they're gel pens, at least the ones that I have.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe you just have a straight ballpoint pen.
Yeah, so.
Cool. When I think ballpoint pens, I think Bic.
Right.
The old style.
Yes. Yeah,
And
but
then,
I'm really looking forward to going out tonight.
Good.
And listening to some 80s music done by a band.
oh, wait, we can't go out. We got all these people here.
Oh.
Folks, thank you.
Come
Thank you
with
for
us.
being with us. Again, whether you're going out tonight or staying in, and we certainly had our share of New Year's Eve where we've stayed in. We don't go out every New Year's Eve. But whether you're staying in, whether you're going out, I want you to have a great night. I really want you to have a great year. I do know with almost absolute certainty, except for that one guy, that all of you richly deserve it. People who watch this show, you are good people. You should be having a good night. And tomorrow, I want you to wake up excited for your future. Some people are in the beginning of their career and great things are ahead. Other people feel like things are winding down for me. I don't know if this year will be better than the last year. I believe wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, you can take whatever is being thrown at you or whatever you've created and make the very best of it. And that's what I want for you. So we're going to continue to share our recipes for success, mixed in with all the fun that we usually have.
Yes.
On the social networks, we'll be sharing as well. I tend to be very, very public, probably to a fault. Someday somebody's going to totally rip off everything that I own through my lack of privacy.
And they'll be like, my name's Robert Nasir.
Yeah. Give me all the money in the bank account. And who knows what else could happen. But I do want to engage, and I want you to engage, and I don't necessarily mean I want you to share all your passwords with that guy who tried to chat with you, but engage. Get out there. Get more of what you already value, and find some new values too. Make it great. We're going to talk about 2024 as we go along. This will be your best year yet. I have faith in you. I trust in you. I believe in you. I know that you can make this happen because I know you well enough just through the fact that you're here on top of the chat as well.
I'm just sitting here thinking of all the people in the chat that I know. I know a lot of you personally, and I've conversed with you personally. Some of you I haven't met in person, but I know you well enough. And I think that you all are going to have a really great year.
It's going to be great.
And I've seen some of you bust out, bust a move and actually take some risks. Go out there and find a date, whatever it was. Go out there just a little bit more, inch by inch, whatever it is. Just keep going towards success. Keep going towards what you really want out of life, what your goals are. Be serious about them, and be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Take yourself by the hand and lead yourself into 2024 and have adventures. That's what I plan on doing.
Super sweet. And absolutely true. Those of you who heard my rules for life know rule number 5, the vast majority of our limitations are self-imposed. You've got a little more in you, so do what Amy says and make this your best year yet. Folks, thanks for joining us. This has been 5 minutes. 5 minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir, the very last show. The last show for 2023. 2024 is going to be totally awesome, man. So join us for that. Happy New Year to you all. Real quick,
What?
if you have ideas for the show next year, send them to us. Put them in the chat or send them to the 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir Facebook group.
Yes.
If you want to support the show financially, if you'd like to send us $16,000 like somebody else who just made that kind of money today,
That's right.
you can go to the PayPal link at robertnasir.com, make a contribution. If you'd like to sign up for our monthly support, thank you to those of you who already do. Thank you to our patrons. There's a link to our Patreon as well, and you can join up with that too. Either way, like the show if you could, share the show if you would, and have a great evening. Have a happy new year. Those of you for whom it's already past midnight, you're in 2024. I hope you're loving it. I hope you're going to go get some sleep. We're going to go out and party. In the meantime, we wish you every success that you so richly deserve. We wish you happiness, reason, purpose, self-esteem, and more than that, or at least as much of that. And in the big, big way, open up my heart, put it in my hand, show it to you, like those movies we keep talking about. A bear comes along, and the edge. No, actually, a little sweeter than that. But ambitiously, too, because it's going to be great. We wish you love.